Welcome to Plan 9 Crunch. I'm Doug Gibson. It's Sunday. I'm sort of laid back today. And we got a Plan 9 Crunch review of a B or C movie. It's Indestructible Man, 1956, starring Lon Chaney Jr. A while back, someone asked us at Plan 9 Crunch YouTube to do more Lon Chaney Jr. We have done some Lon Chaney Jr. We're doing another one now. What I love about the Indestructible Man, it's a low-budget movie. It was released by Allied Artists, played with World Without End, I believe, Edward Burns film in theaters. It's Ray, what's his name? Fred Olen Ray. Cult director Fred Olen Ray, rumor has it, says Indestructible Man is his favorite movie. And it's probably, in my opinion, it's not the best movie in the 50s Lon Chaney Jr. made. That's probably The Defiant Ones, but that's not really a cult film for our genre. But Indestructible Man is a lean, mean, right to the point, good horror film. Chaney plays Charles Butcher Benton, and he's about to be executed. And his sleazy lawyer, who's involved with the mob, more or less, Paul Lowe, is trying to get him, just the day before he's going to be executed, trying to get him to tell him where I think it's $60,000. If I messed that up, I apologize. $60,000 that is missing is. And all Butcher says is, I'm going to come back and kill you. All right, so this movie also, what's interesting about this film is he's going to be electrocuted, but there's like I guess he's kind of a mad scientist. He buys Benton's body because he wants to resurrect it. So there's a lot of elements in Frankenstein in this movie, and also there's an element of the Boris Karloff film The Walking Dead that Michael Curtiz made, because it's both about resurrecting somebody and trying to bring them back, and of course things don't really go as everyone's planning. So I want to go to a scene here that shows the scientist and his assistant after Butcher Benton has been executed, resurrecting him and see how things go. Jack, could you do that for us? Appreciate it.
Careful. His reactions are violent.
How do you explain this?
Each cell must have multiplied 100 times, perhaps thousands. His strength is unbelievable. No. It's too late for the amyl nitrite. I want to get some blood samples, make some tests on him, find out what's happened. Get me a syringe.
You notice that? This is all the pseudo-science fiction of the time. The stuff they've done to Chaney, fill him up full of things, makes him really, really super strong.
Why won't the needle penetrate the skin?
They can't do things. They can't hurt him.
Nearly a solid mass of cells.
How are we going to get the blood sample?
Surgically, perhaps.
Chaney can't even talk.
Take it easy. You can't leave here now.
His vocal cords are
I'm responsible
gone.
for your being alive.
Okay, Jack, thanks. All right, so Chaney goes on the rampage now. One thing I want to mention about this film is it's done in a style that was popular at the time of narration by the protagonist, who's the police officer. He's a detective who caught Chaney. And you didn't see the narration in that scene, but the film frequently breaks with his narration telling what's happening. And I guess that isn't kind of an homage to the Dragnet shows of that era. So anyways, Chaney has been, like again, this pseudo-science fiction, Chaney's become, he doesn't really look he looks pretty imposing, but he doesn't look like a Superman. But apparently you can't kill him, at least with bullets and things like that. And he runs around killing a few people. He steals a car. And I want to mention something different. Oh, it goes back to his girlfriend. And the girlfriend's starting to romance the detective, which is a little subplot here. And then Chaney is determined to get revenge on the mobsters and the lawyer who sold him out. He hides in the subway system. We're not really going to see scenes about that right now. I really love this movie for another reason also, is it shows you Los Angeles in the 1950s. And we're going to see some street shots, but we're also going to see a bit of history of how Bunker Hill, and a funicular system they had called Angel's Flight, how popular it was, where it carried people up the hill. Bunker's Hill has sort of a romanticism because it was prominent in the novels of Charles Bukowski sometimes, and also John Fante, who Bukowski was inspired by him to write. And they both were great Los Angeles novelists. So let's go and just enjoy for a couple of minutes here, 2 or 3 minutes, Los Angeles in the 1950s. All right, thanks, Jack.
He didn't seem to be in any particular hurry.
Here's the narration.
Actually, he seemed like any normal person, on his way to work or on his way home.
There's Angel's Flight, you see it there. Funicular coming up.
He rode up Angel's Flight, arrived at the top, scanned the hotel building, and then noticed the only exit from Squeamy's apartment, a fire escape.
I love the way he makes this expression. He's really angry all the time. I really enjoy the shots of Los Angeles in the 1950s. Now, obviously, they're going back from studio to exterior shots sometimes, but this obviously is not a studio right here. This is the woman, Chaney's girlfriend. And she is a dancer. I don't know if she's a stripper or not in the movie, but she works in a club. There's the wonderful funicular system that I believe is still around. Another shot of LA. I wonder if some of these people are extras, if they knew they were in a movie. Obviously the cars, I don't think, were extras. Okay, we're gonna give us a couple more seconds and then we'll end this, all right, this segment. Forgive me if I really revel in this, I just love this history. Just everything from the funicular here to the street, to the buildings. Okay, Jack, we can go now. The stars of this movie were the guy who plays the detective, and the narrator was Max Showalter, who he was in a TV show, and I can't recall what it is right now. He was sometimes called Casey Adams, and he was in Niagara, which is a 1953 movie. There's a TV show he was popular in. He was the original Ward Cleaver for Leave It to Beaver, but only in the pilot. And he also, one of my favorite episodes he's in is the Andy Griffith Show, where it's a very early episode where Andy and Barney are trying to sell the town cannon, which is basically a disgusting relic. And he is a antique dealer, and Andy tells him Teddy Roosevelt used it, when he was going up in Cuba or something in the turn of the century. Gets a lot of money, and then Andy gets a pang of conscience at the end, ends up dropping the price down to like $15. But Max Showalter has a voice that you'd recognize if you've watched television through the generations. Okay, so Lon Chaney's Butcher Benton's going after revenge. And there is one scene I want to show people that I think is pretty cool. And it's one of the culmination when he gets one of the guys. Thanks, Jack. Can you do that? We don't have those anymore, do we?
Police! Yes!
Okay, we can go now. This film also has, I wouldn't call it corny, but it has stereotypical actors. Things take place in a bar where you have literally a woman who plays a barfly. You know, she's sitting around drinking, boozing it up, and you have sort of people who might have come out of a gosh, what they come out of maybe novels and things like that, of being people who would occupy a bar, occupy the streets, and it's a little bit over the top sometime in the acting, probably by design. This is a movie though that's really quite entertaining, and it's 72 minutes. And I like Mystery Science Theater, but I do not appreciate Mystery Science Theater ripping on this film, because I don't think it's a film that's of low quality. Chaney gives a fantastic performance, particularly since after he is executed, he doesn't speak because he's not able to. His vocal cords are ruined according to the plot, but he conveys emotion very well and everything. And so he just gives a fantastic performance. Chaney was probably the most versatile actor of the big three. And this is not to denigrate Bela Lugosi, my favorite actor, or Boris Karloff. They also would work outside the genre. Lugosi was very good in comedy, by the way. However, Chaney had range that would go beyond just being a horror actor. He was Lenny in Of Mice and Men. In The Defiant Ones, he is a man helping Sidney Poitier, who is running away from the authorities. And he gives such a good performance because he's not a person who would agree with an African American, that many people think Lon Chaney should have been an Oscar considered for that movie, The Defiant Ones. Chaney also made a lot of Westerns. He is in the classic High Noon, Chaney is Gary Cooper's deputy. So he had a really good acting. One tragic thing in his life is he drank too much, and you can see the effects of alcohol on his body if you look at him in the early 40s in a movie like this. Anyways, I hope you guys get a chance to see Indestructible Man. It's available everywhere. You can buy it. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it in 5 minutes after this episode's over and enjoy it. And once again, this is Plan 9 Crunch, and I'm Doug Gibson, and we're at Plan 9 Crunch at YouTube and TikTok. And we are at plan9crunch.com for our blog. That's a conventional blog where you can read articles. And at Facebook, we're at Plan 9 Crunch podcast and blog. So give us a like, follow, or subscribe, depending on the situation. And we've enjoyed doing this. We'll be back again. And that's a wrap. Good. I think that went pretty well.